Hey, good Wednesday afternoon. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox, and we are talking about a very, very busy forecast. All right, we're talking about storms from today all the way through Sunday. We have those storms kicking off in Oklahoma and Kansas this evening, moving up to the northern portion of the plains tomorrow. So we've got Iowa in there for tomorrow, and no rest this weekend. So I'm actually just kicking it off here with the hail forecast. Watch this. We've got all kinds of oranges, even some very dark oranges, some reds starting to kick in here. Watch this. I usually don't show this until the very end of the forecast, but because it's so impressive, I'm showing it at the very beginning today. Here we go. As we head into the afternoon hours, we start to see that hail risk increase from Oklahoma and the Panhandle of Texas all the way into Kansas. This continues to stretch into Wichita and even Kansas City, a little bit in Kansas City, as we head into the late night hours tonight and into early tomorrow morning. This continues to move up to the north as we head into your Thursday. And yes, we do have a really good risk for storms on Thursday. So Thursday afternoon is whenever we have those storms tomorrow in Iowa. 48-hour storm reports here. We saw those storms at the very beginning of the week. Other than that, it's been pretty quiet. And we may be having, is it audio issues that we're working on? We're working on getting live. Okay, very interesting. It's always one problem or another. Let's see. So let us know, I guess, if you can hear us and what platform you're watching from. I think you're right. I don't see us live on here. Okay, we're back. Let's see. Are we live on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn? Okay, well, while we figure out our live issues, we are going to take your comments and your questions. I'm looking on TikTok over here. I don't see any questions on TikTok. Let's see if we have any questions on YouTube. How are we looking? Okay, we're going to check real quick, but I'll go ahead and I'll continue here while we figure out some of those issues. We had a wind event on Tuesday evening, excuse me, up in the northeast. Other than that, it was pretty quiet yesterday. Temperatures are pretty warm out there today. I walked outside to walk my dog and it was just so comfortable this morning. It was pretty nice last night as well. We've got those temperatures above average across most of the plains. Starting to see that cold air move in up to the north as that warm air pushes down to the south. Yes, anytime that we see big changes in the temperatures, we know that we'll see some sort of wet weather. And this time of year, it is storms. So that's exactly what we're seeing as that big change comes down from Canada and then pushes all that warm air down to the south. Here's what we're going to see. Storms up to, well, down in Oklahoma and Kansas today, up to Iowa tomorrow. And then we've got an area right in here, anywhere from Chicago to Dallas to the Tennessee Valley, that we are watching for storms as we head into the weekend. So let's really just get into it here. We don't have any storms on the radar right now. I'm going to skip right past that. We do have some moisture return coming up from the Gulf. So we have those temperatures, those dew point temperatures, start to increase here into Oklahoma and Texas. Kansas also seeing those dew point temperatures increase, and that means more moisture in the air. We've got that heat, we've got that moisture. Yes, that is perfect ingredients for storms. And there you go. There is your storm risk. It's a level 1 for today. Storms are going to fire this afternoon. Now, I do think that they'll be pretty isolated. Not everyone getting storms today. You saw that risk from the Panhandle of Oklahoma and Texas into Wichita, Kansas City, Omaha included in that as well. Not everyone getting storms. We have storms firing up into the evening hours, okay? It's going to be a pretty late event. It's going to be one of those events that you're sitting around watching and waiting for, and you're saying it's not fired up yet, but it will. We will see storms fire up as we head into the afternoon and evening hours, so late afternoon into the evening, continuing through the overnight and into early tomorrow morning. Increasingly becoming a little bit more widespread here from Wichita to Kansas City, but at that point, if these storms become too clustered, that hail risk is going to go down. So I have that low risk for storms in Kansas City tonight. Moving up to the north for Thursday, so tomorrow we will start out with a pretty rainy beginning on Thursday for places like Missouri and Iowa. However, we're really not watching for those morning storms. We're watching for those afternoon storms that will start to fire up in the late afternoon. This is what we're watching for right here. Anywhere from the eastern side of Nebraska all the way into Iowa, southern side of Minnesota, and the northern side of Missouri. That's what we're watching for storms starting off isolated at first, congealing into a more cohesive line as we head into the late night hours. It's dark at this point, but we still have a pretty good hail risk. That hail risk actually looks pretty impressive for most of Iowa, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. Remember what I showed you earlier? When we get these dark oranges, when we get these dark, almost red colors in here, that's whenever we start to see those larger hailstones. So that's exactly what we have as we head into Thursday afternoon, into the evening hours from Omaha all the way into a good portion of Iowa, even Minneapolis included in this. So let's go back to today, then we'll go forward to tomorrow, and then we'll even talk about Friday and Saturday in your forecast. But let's talk about that hail forecast for this evening. Wednesday evening into Thursday morning, pretty low chance down in Woodward. It's going to be very isolated in this area from the southern side of Kansas into the panhandles of Oklahoma and Texas. Much more widespread, which is why that chance goes up, that risk goes to a level 2, a moderate risk in Wichita and in Kansas City. As we head to the east, those hail sizes are likely to go down. So we're talking about quarter, $half size hail farther out to the eastern side of Kansas, into places like Kansas City and even up to the north into Omaha. However, if one of those isolated storms down in the southern side of Kansas, even into Wichita, could get going, I think we could see up to hen egg-sized hail. That's 2 inches in size. Severe weather breakdown here. What about that tornado threat? We've talked about that hail threat. Tornado threat's pretty low. The wind risk today I put out at a level 3, pretty low as well. Flooding threat is low for now, however, going to be a bigger threat as we head into the next few days. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that flood threat goes up. Here's your wind forecast, Woodward, Wichita, with the highest chance for wind, even though I'm still keeping this in a pretty low category here. I was right in between, low to moderate. Moving up to the north and talking about Iowa now, we're talking about the eastern side of Nebraska, Kansas City, all the way up to Minneapolis. We do have a tornado risk for tomorrow. So this includes Lincoln, Omaha, Des Moines, Kansas City, and Minneapolis. It's a level 1 on a scale of 5. Excuse me, a little tickle in my throat. Level 1 on a scale of 5, so it's still on the board, even though it's a low risk. Just something to pay attention to. Moving forward to the hail risk tomorrow. So this is the most impressive thing that I've seen in quite some time, okay? So the hail risk tomorrow looks pretty impressive, anywhere from Lincoln to Omaha to Des Moines. Now let me remind you, last time we put a city in a high category, it had a direct hit. I'm not saying that's what's gonna happen here. I'm just saying our forecasts have been pretty good here lately, and we'll move on from that. Lincoln, we could see those larger hail sizes, up to the size of tennis balls, Omaha and Des Moines as well. We really just need to get these storms going farther out to the west, and then I think that they will slowly move into places like Omaha and Des Moines as we head into the late night hours on Thursday. I put Kansas City in that low risk, Peoria also in that moderate risk, and Minneapolis highlighted there in yellow in that moderate risk. Hail sizes for tomorrow look more impressive than today. We're talking about tennis ball size hail, 2.5 inches in size. So we've got a pretty good risk for some pretty large hail tomorrow. Here's your wind forecast. It's a lower chance for those high winds. We're talking about 60, 65, maybe getting up to 70 miles an hour from Minneapolis all the way down to Kansas City. So this is your Storm Prediction Center risk. Ours differ a little bit just because we're looking at different things, but they do have this area. I like to talk about what they have put out because you're probably seeing this on social media. You're probably seeing this from your friends who are sending you the Storm Prediction Center risk. They have an area that's hatched, and I want to explain what that means. That means that they think that this area right here, anywhere from Omaha into the central portion of Iowa and northern Missouri, looks for the best chance for the largest hail tomorrow. So we're talking about large hail, 2 inches or larger, right around the size of a tennis ball is what I'm thinking right in this area. As we move into Friday, we have another chance for storms, anywhere from Dallas to Oklahoma City, including Wichita once again, all the way into St. Louis and Chicago. You're going to see a big long line of storms form on Saturday. That's going to impact some southern states on Friday, you're going to see that big long line of storms form, and that's going to impact those southern states on Saturday. So many risks. You're going to get your days confused here. Dallas, all the way into the southern portion of Oklahoma, into Arkansas, Kentucky, Tennessee, and even as far north as Pennsylvania. On Saturday, those storms will fire off, I think, in the afternoon and continue through the overnight hours, leading us into Sunday morning here. By Sunday morning, we've got to watch the eastern side of Texas into Louisiana and Arkansas once again. Now, Arkansas has gotten hit over and over and over this year. Once again, they're in two risks over the next few days, both Saturday and Sunday. I know it's Easter weekend, but you have to stay weather aware. The weather does not have a calendar, so even though you are off with your family, you have to stay weather aware here, because I do think that we could get some pretty good hailers out of this. Now, we talked about a lot. Here's a little short recap. Today, storms from northern Oklahoma into the Panhandle of Texas, Kansas included in that. Iowa for tomorrow. By Friday, Chicago all the way down to Dallas. Saturday, those storms move to the south just a little bit, still including Dallas here, but even as far north as Pennsylvania. And then by Sunday, you're seeing storms the eastern side of Texas, most of Arkansas included in this, and the southern side of Missouri. So I know that was a lot of information. You can always pause this forecast once we're done. You can go back and watch this forecast again if you need to see the timeline again, or even those hazards break down. Again, you can always go back after this forecast is over, and you can pause it, zoom in, screenshot, whatever you need to. Taking a look at your future temperatures here, we're in the 80s, 70s up in Kansas City. Pretty nice, warm day. What did I tell you about storm ingredients? You need that heat, right? So whenever we see these temperatures so warm, and then a big contrast back to the west, we know that that big change is coming. We call this a temperature gradient. And the faster things change, the stronger that storm system often is. So we will see a cool down after these storms track to the south, but it's going to take some time for those storms to track to the south. We've still got some really warm temperatures down in Shreveport, Memphis by Saturday. That's where we see the storm risk. You can kind of follow that temperature gradient and find the storm risk here. Moving on to your high winds. Behind this line of storms, you will see some high winds. Now, behind this line of storms, it's going to impact the fire danger. It's really dry out to the west. Those high winds are going to increase that fire danger out to the west. So we're really watching for that by the end of this week and into the early portion of the weekend. What about the late half of, the back half of April? What's today, April 16th? We're halfway through April here. What are we talking about for the last week of April? April 21st through the 25th. It looks like temperatures are likely to stay above average, so we're warmer than normal April 21st through the 25th. We've also got a really good chance for higher precipitation. So in the winter, that means snow. In the spring, that means storms. So we've got the moisture. We've got those high temperatures. We're probably going to stay pretty active as we head into the later portion of April. So April 21st through the 25th, we're calling it now. We're going to see those storms continue kind of day after day, like what we're seeing right now. We don't get a break around here. Our meteorologists work very, very hard. So if you're interested in a hail, wind, or tornado map, give us a call at 855-334-4245. They're going to be very busy creating those maps over the next few days. Email us at info@hailtrace.com or head over to our website, hailtrace.com. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. We don't just do noon forecasts. We also go live when storms are hitting your area. So big cities, big storms, we're live. All right, thanks for following us, and thanks for watching today. We'll be back with your forecast, same time, same place tomorrow.